Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday night. Told you it's Pirate Takeover night. Mr. Rick Hughes is joining me tonight, and we have a little name for this show. It's actually called Cup of Ray from the Cheap Seats. How you doing tonight, Rick?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I can't believe that 1 week from tonight, Kansas City is going to be playing against the Houston Texans. We're going to have NFL football, right?
How exciting is that? I mean, it's time. It's that time. Real practice is about to start. This is just awesome.
Speaking of real practice, let's just jump right into it because, Bucs signed a running back yesterday, a first-round pick, number 4 overall for the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2017.
What?
Oh, you haven't heard about?
I hadn't heard about this.
Leonard Fournette? No, you hadn't heard about? Yeah, no. It was under the radar. We didn't. Not much news on it. I think I heard Peter mention on his show once or twice last night. But I heard. I'm just going to jump right into it, Rick, because I want to know what you think. I know that the politically correct, as a coach, the politically correct thing to do is to get the guys that have been in camp. But usually camps spend like 4 months of OTAs and camp and preseason. So you always go, well, so and so's RB1. It's so and so's job. But I heard a lot of prognosticators and talking heads today that say, the moment Leonard Fournette puts ink on paper and becomes a running back in the Buccaneers backfield, he's RB1. What do you think about that?
Well, Bruce Arians, I know, came out and said Rojo is still number 1. He said it's going to take a while for Fournette. They'll let him do whatever he can come along and do, and we'll see. But for now, Rojo is number 1. Like you said, maybe that's the politically correct thing to say.
And a quarterback never loses his job to injury, and
right.
Your letters in the mail, checks in the mail, and I'll call you later. But no, I get that because Rojo has been showing, after last year, we know he had his wrist slapped when he missed the block, and he worked hard this offseason, and he went. What did he burn through 3 or 4 jugs machines working on catching that football that Tom Brady out of the backfield pass. But obviously it's going to take Leonard Fournette time to get up to speed. But what a solid pickup for the Bucs. But I wanted to ask you something. Because somebody made a reference today to that video we saw back when Gronk signed with the Bucs, when Tom raised the shell and he does the call right out of the wild and the geese fly and Gronk comes. Just loved that. And of course they made a reference to the fact that a player like Leonard Fournette comes to Tampa Bay also. But I was wondering last night, I was thinking about this, Rick, is because of a COVID-19 year and because there's so many unanswered questions and because a couple of the teams that they mentioned the Fournette might go to would have been like a Pittsburgh Steelers or maybe a Chicago Bears was a hot one. And you start to wonder, he's right here in Florida. You don't know what the cold and flu season's like in Chicago. It's a whole different state. He's just not used to it. He went to LSU. He's from Louisiana originally. And I wonder how much of that goes into that thinking just besides playing with the GOAT and trying to pick a ring up here in 55.
Yeah, I don't know that COVID-19 really played into this that much at all. I think it's my personal feeling that the players, that Fournette or whoever, they're looking at the Bucs and going, I want to be a part of that. I don't think they're getting scared into settling on the Bucs. I don't think it's like that. I think they're motivated to be here. And I think that's how it, that's what it all came down to is I think he wants to be in Tampa. He's in Tampa. I'm sure he had other opportunities. And he picked where he wanted to be.
And, it was funny because not funny, but I was listening to some facts today and I'm going to go ahead and read these facts. Last year, 2019, Leonard Fournette had more rushing yards than Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, and Mark Ingram. But here's the surprise, maybe not a surprise, but if you're just looking at the bottom line, statistics, last year Leonard Fournette had more receptions than Odell Beckham Jr. and Larry Fitzgerald and even the Buccaneers' own Mike Evans as far as number of receptions. So you talk about what a running back like Leonard Fournette brings and how fast it takes him to get up to speed. And it makes me wonder now, when we signed Shady, and nothing but respect for Shady, and we've seen the career he's had, and he's just a phenomenal player. And we try to say it not so politically incorrect, but he's had a good run. He still has miles left in him, but we know he's on the back end of his career. And I wonder with a Leonard Fournette signing, and Shady's probably not going to bring anything to special teams. I wonder if he's one of those players that's on the bubble now for the Buccaneers.
Listen, I think the big loser in all of this. I'm just being honest.
You're gonna say Dari.
No, I think the big loser is going to be Rojo. I honestly think that Blake Anthony has said this perfectly time and time again. You're trying to take a back that is not an all-purpose back and pretend he's an all-purpose back. Use him as an all-purpose back. Close your eyes, cover your nose, shut your ears, balls to the wall. Pretend he's an all-purpose back. I think the phrase that Blake uses is you're trying to make an apple an orange or something like that, and I have to wonder whether or not Rojo's the biggest loser in the whole in this whole churn, and there's a reason they brought him in.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see with a Shady and with a Fournette, Rojo getting another year, because we've watched this. We've watched him put on the muscle mass. We've watched him getting serious. He was not serious about his craft.
Right.
But we really hear the things of how hard he was working in the off season and getting ready, running the hills, and just getting in shape. And because I know exactly that point Blake is making, and he's not your 3-down back. He's your speedster. He's the guy you bring in. And I made this point that the beautiful thing about him is if he's just your speedster, then you get the defense. You bring the speedster in. They cheat up 8 in the box, and guess what? The speedster, who now knows how to block, ends up picking up a blitzer. And with 8 in the box, Tom Brady's got three alternatives running down the sideline. So from that standpoint, I like it. But I was kind of a little bit, and I'm not saying I have a problem with Leonard Fournette at all. I mean, I love this kid, but I was really looking forward to seeing. We're still going to get to see, I think, what Adari Ogunbowale can do, and how hard he was working this offseason, and what he showed with making the catches last year out of the backfield, and with Shady. But just so many choices to make. It almost seems like it'd be a conundrum, Leo Word, to try and figure out how Byron Leftwich is going to divide that biscuit up among those running backs.
There's no way that there are not enough plays in a season to somebody's going to be unhappy at the end of the year with how they were used. There are only so many plays, so many opportunities you have in a year. So, I don't think they're giving up on Rojo. I don't think Rojo's gone. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think, Calais and Vaughn may end up on the practice squad. And the moment somebody gets hurt, you bring them back. I mean, there are things like that may happen.
And the thing is, don't we sit back, and because we've seen teams that try to put together a dream team, and I don't think we've ever seen it be done the way it's been done this offseason, since Tom Brady. But doesn't that, and I don't see it happening with this team. I don't see Bruce Arians letting it get away from him. I don't see, I see everybody following Tom Brady, but isn't that the one pothole that you're worried about, is at some point along the way that somebody thinks they were going to get more production than they are getting. I don't know who it would be. If Antonio Bryant was on this team, that would scare the crap out of me, right? But with this, I don't see anyone else having that. But isn't that been a thought that you've had once or twice, to think that there's just going to come a point where you're going to realize some people aren't going to get fed?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a Rojo or a Dare, or I don't even think it's going to be Mike Evans. Could be. That could be. I don't think it's going to be Chris Godwin. I think if it's going to happen, it's going to be a Fournette or a Shady. Right. I don't see anybody else on the team as being a potential problem. I mean, if you've been a Buccaneer for years, you're going to be excited about this season. You're not worried about that so much. It's the guys coming in with big dreams, big visions of Lombardi trophies dancing in their heads, and they've got all kinds of things going on in their head right now.
Isn't the one player, and I'm not saying it's an attitude problem, because going back to Alabama, this kid did not have an attitude problem. He's a team player, but if OJ had already started having the production and the success that we know he's capable of having, and I very much expect him now to have with a Gronkowski to lead the way, and with a Tom Brady who's been working, telling him how to catch the ball on his hip,
Yeah.
and and teaching him the intricacies that obviously 3 years in the league he'd not yet had. Maybe if OJ had already had that success and now he has to pull it back because Cam's going to get fed and Rob's going to be there and all these running backs and such. But honestly, through all of this, Rick, OJ Howard has been one of the most intriguing things I'm looking forward to see his improvement, because I went back and we watched his film at Alabama. We know what this kid's capable of, and he can get mean. And man, if he can have the success I think he's capable of, we are about to see an entirely different OJ Howard.
I understand where you're coming from on this. Now, I'm about to throw out a hot take. This is a hot take that I don't expect anyone else. I mean, I get it. I'm probably about to make some people's heads blow up.
Like you usually do.
Yeah, but I believe that the most productive of the tight ends on the Buccaneers at the end of the year is going to be Cam Brate. I think you're going to see a boatload of touchdowns out of Cam Brate. I understand we all want it to be OJ Howard, but Cam Brate just keeps going and churning and churning and churning. Who in the scrimmage that they had, who caught the touchdown pass? Cam Brate. This is a guy who, did you see Tom Brady light up? It's like a man crush that he has on Cam Brate.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, it's really hard to. I think this guy's going to have a heck of a year, and nobody's talking about him.
You know what? Because Cam always finds a way to get open across the middle. Cam knows, and he brings that veteran leadership to that.
Who are you going to cover?
I thought you were going to say who you're going to call. I was going to say
who are you going to cover?
No,
think about it. Who's the one guy you're probably going to leave uncovered? You're probably going to leave Cam Brate uncovered. I mean,
I'll give you this.
You're going to leave Evans uncovered? You're going to leave Godwin uncovered? You're going to leave Gronk uncovered?
No, and then with the running backs, I'll give you Cam Brate scores the most touchdowns because in the red zone, I believe he'll be Tom Brady's #1 target. I believe that OJ Howard will have the most yards after catch of all the tight ends. I guess that's a weird thing to say, but what I'm saying is because of his size and the way he runs the seam routes and the way he gets open.
I see that.
Maybe he gets tackled before he gets to the end zone. So OJ will get the 80-yard reception down to the 10, and then we'll go to Cam Brate across the middle for the touchdown. How's that?
I could see that. I mean, I absolutely could see that. Jeremiah over here in the comments,
right?
He brought up should be signed. Clinton Dix, who got released by Dallas today. Now, look, I made the mistake. I have to own up to this. Okay, I put up a post when Fournette got released that said, stop it, stop talking about Fournette, stop it.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I'll live.
I was right there with you, though.
I'll be paying for that one for a while.
No, I was right there.
Didn't age well. No, it didn't age well at all. I'll take my beating. I deserve it. I promise you, it's not my last time I'll be wrong. I'm an expert. I've done it my whole life. But it's going to. I mean, look. No, I don't think we need to just everybody who gets released that we've heard of, we don't need to go sign.
No. And let me ask you this.
A
couple of days ago, we heard, and I agree with that as well as and I think he's a great cover guy, but I think that goes back to the fact that we really, I know, to use a Peter Blake, and since we've hijacked Peter's, we took the pirate ship and we took over this page tonight for our cup of Ray from the cheap seats. So I'll throw this out there. We know Peter says it's Super Bowl or bust, and you and I have talked about that. And we'll get into that a little more. And so I think when Jeremiah's talking about that, he's thinking let's cover every possibility. But with that maturing back end that we have in the secondary and the last couple of drafts we've had, I think that I would much rather, even if there are a couple of lumps, and I don't think there'll be many, not with this defensive front, but even if there's some lumps in the road as we go along, I'll take those lumps to get those kids matured and solid. But I wanted to ask you, a couple of days ago, the news was that the Bucs and supposedly Lavonte David's camp were talking about a restructure on that contract for Lavonte, right?
Right.
Did you almost get the, because number one, Levante, we want to keep him here. He is the glue that holds that defense together, and he'll pass the baton at some point. Or already trying. Devin White's already kind of getting there, but Levante's still going to run that middle. But did you almost see that as if the Buccaneers restructure Levante's contract and make it like a two-year deal with a prorated signing bonus, that would actually allow the Bucs to take that $11 million hit from the contract this year and spread it out over two. I know you start getting into cap trouble down the road, but did you think of that as a possibility, that the Bucs were trying to open up some money to have something to play with?
I would be shocked if they didn't use the opportunity to do something like that.
Right.
I know this. Look, if they cut Ryan Griffin, that's, I think, $3 million in cap space right there. And Gabbert's going to back up. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
my cat just jumped up and has decided
To get in there.
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. My wife's got me looking out back for our cat. We let him out earlier tonight, and she's like, "He's out there," and I'm like, "Yeah, we'll get him."
To me,
Ryan Griffin,
cap
$3 million.
space is gonna, that's a lot of space. I mean, it isn't. It isn't. I mean, who are you going to sign that's worth $3 million at this point? So, I mean, if they're worth that much, they're probably not getting cut. So.
That's interesting, though, because we know we have love for Reed Sinnett, and it's just not just because he's been such a great friend of the Bucs Report, and he was my first big interview through Joshua Cole. And again, I love talking to Reed, but just a grinder, and this kid, and we were talking about that he's a pre-snap Reed quarterback, and he's been doing it since high school, and big Peyton Manning fan, and that's why it was so great when he came in here, and he's getting tutelage, if you will, under Tom Brady, and he grew up a huge Peyton Manning fan. But you get rid of a Ryan Griffith, obviously you're still going to look, because as the cuts are made Saturday 4 p.m., right? Teams have to make the cuts. There may be, or God, let's just throw this out there. Wouldn't it just, and this is zero impossible, wouldn't it just blow the world if they brought in a Colin Kaepernick for a third?
No, here we go. This is just, I just said this with Clinton Dix. No.
Well, no, what I'm saying was that
such a phenomenal chemistry right now, and now you want to throw that circus in?
It would be a circus.
But
what I'm saying, okay, but how about a quarterback how about when the Saints cut Jameis, we can re-sign Jameis to come back here for maybe $1 million? I'm kidding. Who was it that was saying that today? I know
it was in the chat. Yeah.
I'm not going to put anyone under the bus. What I'm saying is that they were pretty much hinting the fact that, but we know this all along. Jameis has got the contract, and we're still wishing him the best of luck. But if he doesn't get that Sean Payton offense down,
Blaine Gabbert is fine running this offense,
and Reed Sinnett
is a backup
your third
quarterback. Okay, yes. If you've got a third, fine. I mean, I'm guessing Ryan Griffith is called up and said, "Please, let's restructure," because he doesn't want that to be the reason he loses his position. I mean, no, you don't get. Oh my gosh, no, you don't bring in somebody like that. No,
I'm just trying to take it away
from football, and I know, but wow.
Well, no, I was trying to make everyone forget about you saying forget about Fournette coming to the Bucs.
Oh no, I'm fine. I'll take my beating. I'm good with that. But here, somebody's talking right here, and I thought this was interesting. David saying, "What do y'all think of the Saints possibly getting Clowney? How are they having problems signing Kamara?" Now they're talking about maybe signing Clowney.
Well, it's not so. I just think with the Kamara thing, nobody wants to deny the fact that this kid's got game. So dangerous out of the backfield with the receptions. But I think Kamara, he's kind of almost like your Rojo. When he's not your 3-down back, he's not your big power bruising running back. And I think the Saints, Kamara wants to get paid like he thinks he should get paid, and for the money. I think that
Clowney's a big back. I mean, okay, so you don't sign Clowney. Now who's your back? And okay, I mean, you don't sign Kamara. Now who's your back?
Oh no, well, you know what? I was wondering. Leonard Fournette's a Louisiana kid. Grew up in the 7th Ward. Was there during Hurricane Katrina, right?
I saw that. I was wondering the same thing.
Well, you don't think that that there were people that were probably making that call and just inquiring?
Sure, people. Peter said it. Why not kick the tires? I had no problem with that. Everybody's going to kick the tires. Everybody's going to make the call. I mean,
oh yeah,
his people, Fournette's people. I guarantee you, the phone was ringing off the hook.
Which only makes it more interesting that he just came here. He figured
this is the exciting part of all of it. He came here, but Clowney possibly signing with the Saints. The thing that I find most interesting about that is if you can't, how are they going to afford Clowney if you can't afford to restructure a guy who's a huge part of your offense?
Well, they figure. Well, Clowney going to the Saints. If maybe he's probably thinking that that's going to be they're the number 2 or 3 if you consider the Niners. But they're supposed to be the hot ones in the South, and they're going to be competing. Obviously those 2 games. The first game of the year, a week from Sunday in New Orleans, and then the one here. But yeah, I don't know. Clowney wants to get paid. That's been his problem. The reason why he didn't stay with the Seahawks, and the reason why he's been traveling around the league is because he really wants to get paid.
Yeah.
And I get it. He's a pretty strong defensive end, but he seems to me like he sometimes he takes plays off. Yeah. Maybe it's just because he gets doubled and stuff like that.
It's the reputation.
Yeah,
reputation. He's not there every play, so I don't know.
Well, we were talking about excitement. We were talking about the fan excitement. And, of course, the Bucs announced late last week that there would be no fans in Raymond James Stadium for the month of September, just like about 26 of the other stadiums. I think there's still 5 or 6 or 8 holdouts that are still, talking about minimal 25%, 15,000. Something interesting today. Roger Goodell was actually on Monday or Good Morning Football, and they were talking about that. And first of all, they congratulated him on the fantastic job they did with the draft and the virtual draft and rolling with that. But I like the point that Goodell made, because personally, Rick, up until today, I've thought, and because we're only 7 days away from the Chiefs and Texans, but we're 10 days away from the start of the season. But I still thought that there was going to be an announcement from the rest of the stadiums. We're all going to take September off, see where we are October 1. But obviously that's not the case. And then Goodell made the case this morning that what they're going to do is they're going to take the same COVID-19 protocols they're using at the facilities, at the training facilities for the teams. They're going to apply them at the stadiums. And then these stadiums that do have the fans come there, they're going to continue to learn from those and make it a safer environment. And of course, for Tampa Bay, we want the whole season to work up to obviously Super Bowl 55, which is right here at Raymond James Stadium here next year. So
the stadiums have to be. There are changes being made at the stadium at Raymond James. Some things that they're doing to whatever it is to make sure that it's safe. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea how that works.
We're gonna have scrub zones. It's like, what was that movie? With Gwen with
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Or Glenn Close, where she gets contaminated and she has to go in and they scrub.
Oh,
but
that's funny.
They're talking about social distancing and.
Go ahead. We'll get to this.
No, let's go ahead. Take a caller.
Okay.
We didn't talk when we have callers out here tonight.
Okay. All right. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? This is Johnny Dean.
Johnny Dean.
The professor. The first caller.
If you guys had phone lines or not, I didn't see the phone numbers up.
Yeah, we haven't put it up there yet. We haven't done that yet. You jumped the gun.
We're keeping it on
the
the
beat us to it.
My bad.
No, it's good to talk to you, JD. Professor, I wanted to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Was Pittsburgh one of the teams that was possibility they were talking about Leonard Fournette going to?
I hadn't heard nothing about Pittsburgh up here.
No.
Wanting Fournette, not even in the chats and stuff. They didn't. It was a non-factor.
Okay, I was just wondering because
Tom was pretty happy with his running backs crew right now. So
okay,
I think maybe there might have been a couple of fans that were looking at it.
That never happened. That never happens.
Well, no. All I've heard is that at one time the Steelers were genuinely interested in Jameis Winston, but we won't go there. That one was for Nick.
Some guy named Nick Citro said something about that.
That was for Nick. But Johnny, I wanted to ask you, what did you think? Where did you hear first? And probably in our Bucs Report chat group, because I always tell everybody that JD the professor is one of our main information streams in our brand. Johnny usually breaks it to us. And Johnny, by the way, again, I owe you props. You were the one that broke the information to me that day that Jameis's camp was talking and they had agreed in contract or agreed in principle with the New Orleans Saints. So I went out and did a show, and I held for 4 months. I held the Bucs Report one show record of 7.1 thousand live views, and of course Peter beat it last night. Doesn't that just Tear me up.
Yeah, we got to put that one to rest now, don't we?
Well,
I guess that means you're going to have to break something else now.
Oh, I'm going to, but next time I'm going to make sure I don't have that porn stash because I hated that picture.
That was horrible, dude.
That was so bad. I bet you Tracy probably said something. But Johnny, what did you think when you first heard the Bucs had signed Fournette? When you heard it was going to happen, what's the first thing Johnny Dean thinks?
I had to double check.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I saw it break on Twitter. I happened to just hit refresh, and right as I hit refresh, boom, three tweets about it saying he signed with the Buccaneers, or that he had agreed to terms with the Buccaneers, and I was like, wait a minute. So I kept hitting refresh before I went into our chat group and even said anything, and then Nick freaking Citro beat me to the chat group. I should have just posted it right away to finally, for one time in my life, the one time it could ever happen, beat Nick Citro, and it didn't happen.
You see now, Rick, if you'd have hurried cheap seats up and got into the studio and did that before Peter got on his show, you could have got
Yeah.
and that was 7.2 thousand live or live views on just Facebook. Of course, Johnny, you put in the fact that I think it was probably one of our best nights on YouTube as well.
Yep. Let me ask you a question now. What do you guys think of Arian's comments about Brady wanting to play 4 or 5 more years?
Oh, take it, Rick. You were talking to me about it.
I'm sorry. Let me wipe that smile off my face. Look, if he says he wants to play 4 or 5, that means he could probably make it to 3. Now we don't know what's about to happen after 2 years here. We don't know whether he could end up playing for someone else, and that's realistic. It's possible. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's let this time play out. But what do I think about it? It puts a big freaking smile on my face to know that this may not just be a 2 and done thing. That
was my thought process exactly. And it was an offhand remark, but it sounded like a very serious remark at the same time because Arians was talking about how healthy Brady is and how he looked.
That's just awesome.
I thought I'm just telling you guys, we saw what happened we saw Joe Theismann back in the day, and I use that as I'm going to go ahead and throw another quarterback into Alex Smith, and we see the types of things that happen to quarterbacks in their 20s and their 30s. But the plyometrics and the way Tom Brady approaches his exercise regimen and the shape he stayed in. I mean, I'm not saying the guy's invincible. What I'm saying is that I can see him, playing another now 5 years though. You've got to wonder if he's going to continue giving us that discount like he gave in New England to stay there. Maybe even does he come down a little bit and maybe he starts grooming the next quarterback here, because we have a young nucleus of a team.
That's not his nature. I don't think
Let me ask you, Ray. Let me ask you a question. I can't remember myself offhand because I'm old and I'm losing my memory. But how old was DeBerg when he finally retired?
Wasn't he like 42? I mean, he came here again at 37, and I want to say he was like, I thought I looked that up, Johnny, especially right after we signed Brady, and I was like, hey, we've been down this road before, and I think he was 42 when he finally hung those cleats up.
That old quarterback at 42.
I know. Here I am at 42.
Right? I thought he was a little bit older. I thought he was like 45 or so, but around that area,
Well, Johnny, but though for the last couple of years,
DeBerg didn't have the benefit of all of Brady's concoctions.
His potions. He didn't sell his soul. Brady's probably sold his soul, which, think about it. You've got, not only do you have 9 Super Bowl appearances, 6 wins, MVPs coming out your ears, not just a supermodel wife, or not just a wife, but a supermodel wife, not just a supermodel wife, but the most wealthy supermodel wife ever. And,
he's living his good
kids life. And just one thing after another. What in the world did this guy do? I mean,
well, go ahead.
No, you
go back and look at.
I was thinking, but you talk about selling your soul. What do you think the Glazers did to get Brady and Arians and everything? Man? Come on.
Well, I think this is paying back. I think what's happened is the karma debt that is owed to the Buccaneers after everything they've gone through, from MRSA to Alvin Harper cutting off his fingertips to the Bert Emanuel catch.
Well,
No
this
catch.
is Bert
to-
Emanuel makeup
I mean,
right here. Let's
Yeah,
not.
there are so many things. I mean, Greg Schiano, toes on the line. Everything that has happened within this organization, 0-26. I mean, I'm not going to take up the night sitting here listing all of the things, but
No,
I could.
but Rick-
I mean, I'm not even close to done. I
Rick,
could
let's-
just keep going.
Well, let's just talk about
I
the
think I
fact
can put my finger on the turning point was last year when JPP got that accident and came back the way he did.
yeah.
You know what? You're right about that. And because the whole defense turned around and the whole vibe, everything turned around at that point. I don't even know that it was a conscious thing. Like, okay, here we go. I think it was just when you look back, yeah, things changed right at that point.
But Rick, let's talk about the fact that at the end of the day, and I go back to a show that Peter and I did last summer. It was a July morning. Peter calls me and says, "Hey, as expected, the Bucks just extended Jason Licht's contract to match Bruce Arians' contract, and they're keeping him up." Let's look at this, guys. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, Jason Licht has put together a pretty damn good nucleus of a team.
No, Jason Licht sucks. Haven't you read the?
Oh yeah,
you read all the chat, all the. Oh my god. I've had one rant about this. I'm not going to do it again. But I mean, this is like my pet peeve of all Buccaneer fan pet peeves. This is the one. Now you're sitting here with the Super Bowl kind of roster, and people are still complaining about Jason Licht. I mean, it's just amazing.
Mike Evans, Vita Vea, Chris Godwin, Devin White. You're talking about the
Tom Brady.
Well, then Tom Brady comes here, and of course, Jason Licht came from the New England Patriots system, and then Jason Licht works with Bruce Arians out in Arizona. There's so many. I love symmetry. I always tell people I love symmetry. There are so many things that are symmetrical about this entire story that picking up that Lombardi and marching down Bayshore Boulevard in the Gasparilla Parade next year, once we have a vaccine for COVID-19, just seems like the natural progression. And Johnny Dean, I ask you, what are your thoughts when Peter Blake says it's Super Bowl or bust? What does that mean to you?
Oh my God, come on, man. Don't start that. All right. If this year we're all in for the Super Bowl and then the following year we have no team left, that's a bust.
Right.
You understand?
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely
Super Bowl
correct.
or bust with a foundation like this team has. We're still going to be competitive.
I think you're right. I think
that when we say Super Bowl bust, I think what Peter's saying, and I'm sure Peter will speak for himself, but if he's watching, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, is that you're saying that with this, the plethora, another Leo word, maybe that's the same one I used earlier, but
what a plethora is? Sorry, I just had a Three Amigos flashback. The movie Three Amigos. Go ahead.
Amigos. But no, what I was going to say is that, Dominican Sue is on a 1-year. Shaq's franchise. We have JPP for 2 years. Yeah. If you're talking about the fact that you want to get it done with this personnel and this personnel has the capability to do it, then it's Super Bowl or bust, because I don't see Dominican staying next year. I don't know. I mean, Shaq Barrett's either going to stay and get that big contract, or Devin White's going to continue moving to that dominant defensive, linebacker position. And we're not going to be able to afford a $20 million a year defensive end. We're going to try to develop talent there. So Super Bowl or bust for this squad. But I also like the fact that because of all these players are on 1- and 2-year deals and stuff like that, we're not going to be in cap hell next year. So even if we win in Lombardi this year, we can still scrap it up and go again.
I got to say this. Who does all of this sound like? Every year, the Patriots. Every year.
Absolutely.
The turnover, the different players that are coming in, the fact that you still got Brady, everybody wants to go play with Brady. I'm telling you, the biggest difference right now that I see with Brady being, and everybody's saying, is it Brady? Is it Belichick? Is it Brady? Is it Belichick? In New England, the players are flocking away. Other than Cam Newton, they're opting out. They're doing everything. They're flocking away from New England. And where are they running to? Everybody's running to Tampa. So
guys,
why New England kept getting all those great players? And we kept thinking, is it Belichick? No.
Tom Brady's the Pied Piper.
Ray, let me address something you just said about Sue and stuff. If Sue and those guys go out, who cares? They're going to reload.
And that's
and that goes
yeah,
back to what
Right. That's what I was just
Vic
saying.
was just
Don't
saying.
reload,
They're just going to reload.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. This is not a Super Bowl or bust year. I don't care how you look at it. Now, this is why I believe people like you and I haven't heard you really say bust, but
no, but Johnny, can I say
but
something?
Peter and stuff. I believe that it's 100% on the fact that the Super Bowl is in Tampa,
Well,
and
no,
that's why you guys are so pumped up about it.
no, Johnny.
It was
Yeah,
next
I'd
year,
love to
people
have it.
wouldn't say that. Right.
Hey, let me tell you guys, 2001, when we brought Gruden in, that was Super Bowl or bust because we'd been to the mountaintop. We'd seen the top of Everest, but we couldn't get over that hump. And that was Super Bowl or bust because we knew that. I mean,
That was
that's
Super Bowl or bust because of what we spent to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
we-
feel I
we
think the
haven't done
only
that
way
yet.
it can be bust is if you don't win the Super Bowl, you're done for years. Everybody's gone.
Right.
The whole thing's falling apart. Forget it.
Yeah,
So
Agree.
that's the only way you can say Super
That's the
Bowl
proper
bust, and that's
definition.
not the situation. Let me ask you something. If let's say the Bucks next year lose Fournette, let's say the Buccaneers pretend for a moment that they lose Sue,
easy.
right?
Dominican, yeah,
Yeah,
Dominican.
he's on a 1-year contract, right?
He's on a 1 year. Yeah.
Okay, they lose these guys.
Shaq Barrett.
Shaq,
franchise.
Shaq Barrett, they'll bring back. They're not going to lose Shaq Barrett. You think they're done? I mean, that's okay. So you plug Rojo in. Well, that's where we were 2 days ago, and now it's like, oh my god, if we lose Fournette next year, we didn't even have him like 24 hours ago, when everybody was fine. So I mean, no, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, everybody now thinks
I think
he's
Fournette's going to prove himself this year and look for a permanent
Yes.
home here. So
I don't know if he's going to look for a permanent home here, but I think he's going to look for a permanent home. It's sort of like a contract year for him.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm saying. But I think he wants to be here, and like the guys here in the chat are talking about, if Rojo develops, Fournette and Rojo might be one of the best dynamic duos in football.
Yeah, I was
Wow,
about to actually
because
talk about that conversation that Mike and Rob are having in the chat. That, yeah, I mean, do I think they're? This is what an interesting backfield. I mean, that's what I find most interesting about this backfield.
Team, man. I mean, we're not even talking about the defense, and the defense might be top 3 defense in the league.
But let me say this about the backfield. The backfield, I can't put my finger on the backfield. I still don't know what. I mean, set Fournette aside for a moment. I still don't know what to think about any of these guys, because they've all worked on different things in the offseason. Everything is kind of different with them. We haven't seen any preseason games. I don't know what to expect out of this backfield. I mean, they may have an awesome year. I don't know. I don't know. Is it gonna? That's the most interesting part of this offense to me, is I just don't even have any idea what's coming when it comes out of the backfield.
You know what the best part about the backfield for me, Rick, though, is, and Johnny, Professor, I love the fact that, because of exactly what you said, Rick, I think that there's 31 other teams, at least, 9 that we're going to play, that don't know what to expect either. And I think that's going to take a lot of the load off that offensive line and give that line a chance to really shine, because they not only do you not know the running formation or the runs that we're going to run or the pass out of the backfield, but now you're going to let us double down on our pass blocking. And I think we put at least one offensive lineman in the Pro Bowl next year, maybe 2. Wouldn't it be great?
I have no idea.
Who are you picking for the Pro Bowl?
I'm going Ryan Jensen, and I'm going to go with Tristan Wirfs. I just think Tristan Wirfs comes out and just
You
really.
think Tristan Wirfs is just going to jump over Marpet like that?
I refuse. I'm not even going anywhere on the offensive line to the Pro Bowl at this point. Do it, but have a good game first.
Rick is such a bottom line guy.
Well, Rick, here's the bottom line on that. Jensen and Marpet have been Pro Bowlers. They've been playing Pro Bowl capacity since they've been in here. Tampa playing exceptionally with a broken arm last year.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of high hopes for those 3 guys right
Talk
there.
to me about this Tampa Bay Sports 4 just put up here. Rojo and Fournette do not pair well together at all, which I agree with that comment, but a lot of similarities. Both struggle in pass protection. I thought Fournette was was pretty strong in pass protection.
Fournette will pick up a block. I'm not saying he's gonna, but he's not, Shady. I think has a little bit better blocking, pure blocking, talent. But I like
this is why I say it over and over and over about Dare Ogunbowale. Is I think this guy's on the team. Everybody keeps thinking he's the odd man out. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, Dare's a captain on the special teams. He's not out. I'm sorry. Dare's locked in, dude. Sorry.
I'm with you 100%. And everybody keeps saying, "Oh, well, he's the one that's gone." I don't even think it's a question that
I know where those comments are coming from.
Yeah.
I am not going to make any statement there at all. But Johnny, I did want to ask you something though. There was a thing here. What did you think? I think you probably heard me say that. So they were talking today, I'll just be honest. I was all over the place. SI.com, ESPN, NFL.com, and I picked up one of the pieces they ran on Good Morning Football, and they were talking about their 7 or 8 most interesting games for 2019. Of course, my first thought, if it's a Bucs involved game, we have the World Champion Chiefs. We're also going to play the Rams, but the Saints, Drew Brees and Tom Brady. But they picked, and I like this. And Johnny Dean, I want to know what you think because you're old school like me. They picked the week 6 when the Packers come here and play against the Bucs because they talked about the fact that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady have only played twice in their entire careers, and they're 1-1. And they picked that as an interesting game, a throwback game. What do you think about that?
I think that is an interesting game because who knows what the Packers are.
Wow.
Every time the Packers look like hot garbage, they go to the playoffs.
It's true.
Okay, now I definitely want to talk about this comment. Tampa Bay Sports 4 saying that neither Rojo or Fournette are a great receiver. Ray, will you do me a favor and read those stats again? The receiving stats.
Yeah, well, just the fact. Well,
Oh.
Fournette last year alone, I was telling Rick, Johnny, that he had more rushing yards than Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs, Mark Ingram. But here's the thing: you're Leonard Fournette, you're RB1. Well, he's RB2 right now, right? But RB1 or just maybe an Arby's beef sandwich. But he had more receptions last year than Larry Fitzgerald, Odell Beckham, and the Buccaneers' own Mike Evans with the receptions out of the backfield.
Yeah, so to say he's not good receiving out of the backfield, that's his gig.
And
Is receiving out of the backfield.
Last year, Dare's gig was third down, and that's one of the reasons why Jameis Winston was so easy to read for those interceptions, because every time Dare came in the field on third down, Dare was usually Jameis's hot read out of the backfield, and every linebacker in the league was licking their chops. Dare may still be their third down back, their third down option this year, but I think they've got a lot more options. And no, I think that Rojo, you're going to see that he's improved because the best thing that's going to catch teams by surprise are the things they least expect. And when they see Rojo come in, they're expecting that speed slide, the 2-hole or the 3-hole. But boy, you hit him on a screen pass out of the backfield with that speed, he's going 12 plus yards easy every time.
I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words, which is a horrible thing to do on radio. When I think about this offense, because I'm just thinking if I'm on defense, what do you do? I mean, think about looking at this offense and going, okay, we better cover Evans and Godwin and Gronk. Yeah, we better keep an eye on Gronk. Oh, crap. Fournette's back there. All right. Yeah, let's do that. In the meantime, Scotty Miller is streaking down the sideline. I mean, this is insane. I mean, it's funny, it's insane. And now let's talk defense. I mean, it's just this crazy setup. Everything. I've said this to Peter, that it's like dominoes falling for the Buccaneers. I don't understand how it's happened this year. But not only do you have got Tom freaking Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Shady McCoy. You have, you have a great draft. What?
We have 2 Pro Bowl receivers, Godwin and Evans,
and now the Saints in week 1 have an empty stadium.
But Rick,
okay, there are so many things the Saints are having problems with Kamara. You've got one thing after another. It's the dominoes just keep falling in the favor of the Buccaneers to the point that it makes you scratch your head and go, what in the world is going on? I mean, who
Well, you know, Rick, to go
I
back
feel like I'm not dead, and this is real. I mean,
to go back to your comment though, that questioner early that was talking about, you know, going to the Saints, Clowney, Jadeveon Clowney. That was one of the things. That was the way that the Panthers, the Falcons, and especially those Saints beat the crap out of us last year. Was with that defensive pressure. They were just pushing Donovan Smith. They pushed what's his face, the right tackle now. He just retired anyway. They were pushing us. They were in our backfield. I'm sorry?
Dotson,
DeMar Dotson.
Right.
They were pushing us back. And so that's why you see a Saints talking about signing a Jadeveon Clowney, and that's why you see Brown go to the Panthers. That's why you see these other teams in the South building the defensive line. But that only goes back to what you said, Rick, about the fact that you don't know what to expect with these running backs. Because if you want to bring 5 guys or blitz a linebacker or 2 and give us that one beat to hit a running back out of the backfield, right, or someone on a crossing pattern, that's going to be the way we're going to beat them 7 days a week and twice on Sundays.
Well, are you gonna stack the box to stop Fournette? Really? Think about that. Please, by all means.
No, you're not going to stack the box on anybody. If they do stack the box, they're going to. We might see something like that if we play the Ravens in the Super Bowl, or if we're playing some team that's got that high-powered secondary and defensive line. But you're not going to see that against. Well, the Saints bring it with defense too. They've got a good secondary out there.
But think
don't
about
count
this.
them out just because they're our rivals. Don't go counting them out because they are still the.
I don't think count the Falcons out. I don't think count the Falcons out this year. But I want to point out something. I want to point out, and this is just an interesting thing to think about. Teams are going to want to keep this offense off the field, right? How do you do that? What is the best way to keep an offense
by running game, running ball?
And you
they can't
run against the number 1 defense in the NFL. Again, the dominoes just keep falling perfectly.
But that's why it's Super Bowl or no, I'm kidding. The thing is, guys, forget the Super Bowl or bust. We just need to make the playoffs. It's been 13 years. I want to go to the NFC Championship game now. Guys, I'm ready to tell you guys, and I told someone today, and I'm going to make a justification for this every week from the deck as we're doing our Bucks game day shows. This team has the capacity to go 16-0. A perfect season. Now, guys, I know that it only takes one team. Hey, I know it only takes one team to show up and slap the crap out of you and knock you out of your senses. It's mono. But this team has so many options, and it'll be week 9, and they'll still be figuring out how to use half their offensive weapons they haven't even utilized yet through the first 8 weeks.
This is an oblong ball. Okay, this is not a ball that's going to bounce fairly. It's not like you look at a season and it's not like when you watch football on Sunday, you know the best team is going to win. It doesn't work that way. Any given Sunday, there's even a saying for it.
Says you.
Says you.
So I mean,
well, no, you're right though, Rick. But
say 16-0, it's just not even close to realistic. It's not going to happen. It's not. I think base. Let's say 12-4. Okay, let's say it's going to be 12-4. The ball could bounce a little bit this way. Ball could bounce a little bit that way. But I mean, you can still have injuries. You can still have things happen. Everything's not going to line up. I say this, and now I look at this offseason, and everything's proven me wrong. But when I say everything's not going to happen perfectly, there are going to be things that are going to happen you're not expecting. Brady has to miss a couple of games. Something.
So Blaine Gabbert comes in and sets the world on fire. You know how I feel about Blaine, but no, I get what you're saying, Rick. I've seen
sets the world on fire.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's the
I heard it too.
I heard it too. I know it's near impossible to say. What I'm saying is that this team has got 50. Well, by Saturday at 4, they'll have 53 guys in a 16-man practice squad. They've got guys that have bought in 100.
Yeah.
They are drinking the Kool-Aid and asking for seconds, and that's half the battle on
Yeah.
getting a team to believe that you can go out and dominate. And you take that number 1 against the rush, number 3 top overall, and an offense with these receivers. The offensive line was the big question mark, but still have something to be done. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying it should happen. I'm saying that I can see that 16-0 is a possibility if the ball bounces right.
Okay, Ray. Let me put a pin in your balloon for a second here.
I know you will, JD.
I got to say this, Johnny. Let me say this real quick. He's obviously been partaking in our sponsor, mycannabiscard.com.
No. Yes.
16-0.
No.
Okay,
Go ahead, Johnny.
look,
First me.
there's still 2 glaring weaknesses on this team, and that's depth at offensive line and depth at D line. Okay, those are glaring weaknesses, because if one starter goes down, you're left with somebody who probably couldn't start on another team. Okay,
That's true.
Just think about that. And the season is about who finishes the healthiest.
Well, look at what David just put up here on YouTube. David's following us. David, I think it's maybe saying it wrong.
Surlis.
Okay. Who covers Michael Thomas in week 1?
God, I'd like to say Anton.
I would put Janelle Dean on him.
That's what I would
or
say.
Bunning or Dean. I don't care. Either one of them could cover him.
Right. Now, I look at this like I look at a basketball game where, you're saying, oh my gosh, who's going to stop insert player here, right? who's going to stop LeBron? Okay, fine. Let LeBron have his. LeBron's not going to beat the entire, our entire team alone. Okay, you stop the other guys. And look, if Michael Thomas has a good week, that's not a big shock. Okay, no. It doesn't mean that our defense is in trouble. It doesn't mean anything. And this is what scares me more than anything is, now y'all know my passion for the Buccaneers. You know my passion for Buccaneers fans. I mean, I the name of my show is The Cheap Seats, because I want to hang out in the cheap seats with the fans.
That's where the parties are at.
Okay. But the thing that drives me stinking nuts is people are going to jump ship like you wouldn't believe if there's a struggle in week 1 and things go bad. It's going to be this exodus. I mean, people are going to be like flooding. I'm picturing like everybody lining up on the plank, jumping. I mean, it's week 1. It's week 1. Or if the Buccaneers win, everybody's going to think, oh, it's done. It's done. You're going to have a bunch of arrogant, cocky people running around talking like they just won the Super Bowl.
45 years, man. Yeah. I know.
So everybody right now, practice your breathing exercises. Everybody right now, just figure out how to meditate, do whatever you got to do to just calm yourself down.
Hey, guys.
Understand whichever way it goes, it's week 1.
Look at this. Rob Dunlop asked a question here, and I want to see what you guys say here. Who's the biggest player we cut on Saturday? Saturday, we know we have to be down to that 53th man roster. So 4 p.m. on Saturday, there's going to be mayhem. It's going to be Black Sunday with the free agents and people running around during this COVID-19. But what do you guys think, Johnny Dean? Who do you think is your biggest cut on Saturday for the Buccaneers?
I don't know who the biggest cut is, but I will say this: there will be a surprise cut. I guarantee that. There always is.
There has to be with this. I know there's a lack of depth on the O-line and the D-line, but as far as the specialty with the what do we have? 63 tight ends, 72 wide receivers, and then we have 48 running backs. So you got to imagine there's going to be something there. It's going to be someone that we've grown to love over the years, or someone that we've kind of been waiting to come out of their shell.
Tanner Hudson a surprise? Does that count?
I was thinking Tanner Hudson right there, or Anthony Auclair.
At the beginning of the year, Tanner Hudson would have been a big surprise cut because he's very well liked in the locker room. The coach likes him a lot. He's improved tons and tons. As last I knew, he was actually ahead of OJ Howard, but in his skill sets. But you know how the balance balances.
Well, and Rob just brought up what might be the answer, although I guess he's the biggest cut, but it's not a surprise if it were to happen. Matt Gay. I already think.
Okay, that's an interesting story. Let me get to that one.
Let me say this real quick, Johnny.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
I think it's already a done deal. Okay, I think barring something surprising, I think it's already a done deal. I think Gay is gone. Succop is the kicker. And I don't think they would have paraded him in front of the media and said ask him questions if they weren't already at that point. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay,
I agree.
let me ask you this: could you see them keeping both? Because
No.
Succop is great inside the 50. Matt Gay's great outside range.
Yeah, but Johnny, Matt Gay doesn't even do kickoffs.
Sticking one on the practice squad. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Well, there you go. Maybe Matt Gay maybe they let Matt Gay go to the practice squad and see if he clears waivers there, or another team picks him up. But I don't think another team does. Not that he's that terrible, but yet he's got. Let me tell you about Succop, guys. For those of you out there, I don't have the stats right here, but basically, here's the guy Succop. He goes to Kansas City, Mr. Irrelevant, right? He goes to Kansas City, and after a couple of years there, works his way into a 4-year, $14 million contract, which for a kicker, and you and I were talking about this, Rick, in our pre-production meeting, kickers usually don't see the end of those big contracts. It's more of a love, we're going to give you this big money, unless you're a Gould or a Vinatieri. Right. So after he leaves the Kansas City Chiefs in a cost-cutting move or a salary move, he ends up going to Tennessee, and after a couple of years in Tennessee, he ends up working himself into a 5-year, $20 million contract. And we've seen this kid make field goals, clutch field goals over the years. Of course, later that year in 2017, he has a terrible leg injury, tries to come back, not terrible, but an injury, tries to come back. He doesn't. They put him on IR the rest of 2018, and now he's a free agent, so he comes here. This guy doesn't work himself into two big $14 and $20 million contracts. And again, I'm going to go ahead and say that we know kickers don't usually see the end of that, but he doesn't work himself into those situations if he doesn't got the kind of leg coaches feel they can count on. And God, I love me some Ute Boot Matt Gay. I just don't see them with the confidence that they can have in a Succop.
Well,
let me tell you what happened in camp today. Okay.
Oh, perfect. This is awesome. I've been waiting for this. I've been actually waiting for this news. So please tell me.
I don't know what you're going to say.
Okay, listen. They took Matt Gay and Ryan Succop and let them kick against each other all day. They extended the practice period because of it. Okay, they put them out there in the field in the wind. There was wind today. And
we're about to hear the decision.
And they started 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, out to the 60-yard line, 60-yard kicks. Succop and Gay both nailed their kicks all day long, except Succop missed the long ones. Matt Gay missed a couple of short ones.
Oh, that's done. It's done. It's done. That's
it's
done, and Gay's gone. If he's missing the short ones, it's done.
Succop makes his extra point.
That's been Gay's thing all along. He can hit from 65 yards, but he can't hit the short ones.
Yeah, but Arians already said he wants consistency. You've got to be able to hit the short ones. I mean,
it's like having John Daly's drive, but he keeps putting it on the other green or on the other fairway.
If you can't putt, what go to the great drives?
Chicks dig the short ball.
They both missed the same amount of kicks.
It doesn't matter though. The ones that are the short ones matter. The short ones matter.
You see, and I gotta say it. I think that they're gonna know. The coaches know, but maybe that's one of the big decisions. Rick, you got another comment come up here.
I got another comment here from David Sirlis. He followed up talking about on coverage. He says, Sean Murphy Bunting with Winfield over the top with safety help with Dean on Sanders.
That ball hawk Winfield over the top. Yeah,
I don't know what to expect out of Winfield yet. So I'm
practice squad.
Winfield, that's not happening.
Johnny.
That's not happening, Johnny.
Johnny's been trying some.
Winfield will be protected on the practice squad. I will bet you that.
No, they're saying he's had such a great camp.
If he doesn't
they'll
make
use him as rotation only because he does not have the practice time for this year yet. He'll be a Jamal Dean. Halfway through the season, he might come in and start playing. But Johnny, he is not going to be out there. Who's he going to beat out?
Man,
who's he going to beat out and take their position?
Step away from the crack.
But guys,
you step away from the crack. Who's he going to beat out?
Who's crack?
They have on the roster are good safeties.
No, but here's the thing. Don't the players, they do initially have to I know the practice squad has changed this year. It's larger and there's more of a they have a better.
Yes, They
Winfield
have
does,
4 protected positions on the practice squad.
Winfield does
him
not
either
clear
there
waivers.
for the first few games, or they'll have him in rotation in the games. But he's not going to start. There's no way.
He's
Oh,
not
no.
gonna clear waivers, Johnny. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't start Johnny, but he comes in the third quarter, and when they try to go deep to Thomas because they're down by 20 points. That's
They've
when he
already
walks it
said
off.
he doesn't
Okay,
play
what's
like
the
a
regulations?
rookie.
I haven't looked into it. What's the regulations on the protected squad?
See,
That's
that's
the
what
thing.
I don't
Once
know.
you're
I think
on
they
the
can put it up
practice
for-
squad, no, once you're on the practice squad, another team can't come take you.
But you have to clear waivers to get there. Wait, but in the past, though, Rick, as long as a team was going to sign you to the active roster, they could come poach you. And I thought that
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right. But but there are going to be 4 players. I believe this is correct.
for the
4 that are protected that other teams cannot come poach.
so it's Plan B free agency is what it is.
Yeah, basically, we can hold these 4 protected players on free agency, and the rest of them can be poached by other teams. But they have to clear waivers first to be put on the practice squad.
Well, my point's still the same. He's not starting. He might get a start late in the season, but he's not starting.
He's second string.
Yeah.
You're not putting him on practice squad. He's second string. I mean, this guy, they're saying he's playing like a veteran. They're saying already he does not play like a rookie. They're raving about the guy in camp.
His dad taught him well.
Yeah, and Arians also said that he's still got a lot of catching up to do.
Okay.
He's motivating.
No, I'm not going to. I don't even see that as. I don't even see it as a remotely close possibility at all. I don't even think it's not a discussion. It's not even close.
Hey, you know what? David Moser down here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and say here. He says back in the 90s, there was a team that had 2 kickers. One kicked short field goals. The other kicked long field goals. Can you see us doing something like? I know we just talked about that, but I'm trying to remember what team was it that did that had the short and the long.
But one of them was also their punter, I believe.
That was it wasn't Tom Tuchel, was it?
I don't
No,
remember.
I don't remember. All right, I'll
Johnny
go
Dean, if you were on the cheap seats, I would have just made you walk the plank for saying
Yeah, you would have had to walk the plank on that if you think Dean's going to start the season.
No, I'm not. No. I'm not saying Winfield is going to be a starter.
He just said that on that coverage. But we do play the Saints in the season opener.
Oh, I just use practice squad as an example of what might happen because I'm just saying. My point is not Dean, but Winfield is not going to be a starter.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm not disagreeing with you even a little on that. But there's no way they're cutting him and seeing if he clears waivers to put him on the practice squad.
Yeah, that's not happening. Guys, so Johnny, let me go ahead and bring this up before we run out of time. Rick, I want to tell you about this. Rick and I were talking in the pre-show here, and part of that Roger Goodell interview this morning I saw, he talked about that he did a demonstration. He went for a demonstration over at the NFL Films office, which I guess it's in New York on Park Avenue, so he probably just had to cross the street to another billion-dollar building. But he did a demonstration, and NFL Films has all the audio from all 32 teams. They have their, NFL Films going back in the day, they were where we got the best video, the best audio, but they have the audio from all 32 teams. And he said that's one of the unique things we're going to see when they're going to allow these teams to pipe in. I think, Rick, what'd you say the decibel level is going to be?
70 decibels.
70 decibels, not like what the Falcons used to do when they tried to, but they're going to actually be piping in the sounds of the actual fans, previous games where there was, fans and stuff like that. What do you think about that, Johnny? Is that kind of cool?
Well, I didn't even hear you, Ray.
Oh, well, what?
I was reading this.
Somebody was napping.
I don't know what I said.
I'm reading this thing about the protected players.
Okay, let me say this
Johnny,
about
do his research.
Okay, let me know when you catch up. But the whole the thing with the sound. What's interesting about that? Excuse me, my allergies are going nuts.
Are you cats?
No, I'm not. Thank God.
I used to be, and I'm not anymore.
So what's interesting to me is Seattle's used to they're louder. A jet is right around 125 decibels. So wow. Seattle and Kansas City are usually over 125 decibels.
12th man.
What's happened is, they're losing a lot of sound in those stadiums. You're dropping the audio in those stadiums. It's not going to be nearly as loud as it normally is.
Wow.
people ask, Peter has asked, is this an advantage to some teams? Is it not an advantage to have, the few teams that do have six, I think you said, have fans in the stands? Listen, it's not the same audio level in every stadium from year to year. Okay, some stadiums are louder than others, and you know that if you've been to a Bucks game.
The Seahawks.
Right. No, that's what I just brought up. The Seahawks in Kansas City are about 125 decibels normally. Now they're going to be 70 this year. So, this is a more even playing field than in a normal year. Dallas can hold 100,000 people in that stadium. The Chargers in LA for the first, what was it, 1 year? We're in a soccer stadium that held 35,000. It's not. Listen, everything's not on an even playing field every year. This is more even in the sense that every team has the opportunity to have fans or not have fans.
You know
They're
what?
the ones that make the decision.
You say it's more even, and it is. You're right, on an even playing field. But God bless, doesn't that just make the fact that since Berkeley Prep and since the last 3 months that the players have been getting used to Tom Brady's not invocation, but his the way he calls his cadence and the way he calls plays, and it's just again 16-0. That's why I say 16-0.
Listen.
Okay, yeah, there is a stipulation in here, but it's for veterans. All right.
Right.
Okay.
I knew I saw something like that in there.
Yeah. Look, forget 16-0. Just let's just stick with 12-4 for the moment as a base.
Let's just win the division. Let's just win the division.
Let's win week 1. Okay. Sorry. Let's be the Saints.
Okay, there's my next question. I'm greedy. I wanted this game for the Thursday night game, the opening season game.
Okay.
I know our season opener is still the Saints, but I wanted that game for the league season opener. Wouldn't that have been great?
Yeah.
Am I getting greedy?
Yeah. No. You know what? I get it. But it's still a national game. It's a 425 game. It's a national game. Were you greedy? Fine, get a little greedy. Have fun with it.
When's the last time the Bucks opened the season?
The last time they opened the season at home?
I think it was the year after the Super Bowl.
Opened the season.
I think it was the year after the Super Bowl.
First game of the season.
Year after the Super Bowl, I believe.
I think so.
When we played at the Monday night game, or no, it was the Thursday night, but we played at the new Link Financial.
Wait a minute, didn't we get screwed over in that one? We didn't get to open that season.
No, I think we did. I think it was the Hall of Fame game that the Bucks didn't have.
But don't forget, we were. A lot of Bucks fans out there may not know this. We were the first team in modern NFL. I think the first team, but we were the first team as Super Bowl champion, as defending Super Bowl champion, to not be allowed to have the opening game at home, which is when you usually raise the banner and you walk with the Stanley Cup. I'm kidding. It's the Lombardi Trophy. But instead, of course, we shut down the Vet. Of course, Rondé Barber shuts down the Vet with that big interception. And then, Rick, do you remember that Monday Night Football game where we went to Lincoln Financial Field and they had Rocky Balboa come out and ring the bell and everything? And then what proceeded to happen? Right, still, we were the first team to not be allowed to open up like that. But, Johnny, I'll tell you what, I'm talking about the games this year. Can you just imagine? We're going to see Tom Brady against Patrick Mahomes. We're going to see Brady against Breeze twice. We're going to see Brady against Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to see Brady against Matt Ryan, and Brady against a rookie in a couple of rookies. And the best part about it is Tom Brady plays for us, right? So
we don't get to cuss him out no more and call him Mr. Cheat and all that stuff.
No, I liked him all along. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. I'm sure, Rick.
He's great. I don't think he cheated at all. No, I think it was fine.
All right, man. I'm going to get off of here and let you guys get some other callers in here. I'm sure somebody else might want to call in. I see Peter Blake out there. He might want to call in.
Peter should call in and tell us about Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, I think I heard of that guy.
Peter Blake?
Yeah.
That's right. We pirated his show tonight. That's right. That's what we did. Hey, Johnny, great talking to you, brother, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Oh, okay, he's gone.
He
All right,
just-
if anybody else does want to call, you can call
pulled the
678
ripcord.
Talk to Me.
What is
Talk
the number again?
678 Talk to Me. That's 678 825 5263. Sorry, we don't have the banner up.
Talk to me.
825 5263.
Sounds like you're doing algebra. And I'm just lost.
That's 678 825 5263. Call now.
Anyways, hey everybody, thank you. Welcome back. But there was something else I wanted to talk to you about, Rick, and that was draft general management. Oh, you know what was actually pretty cool was we were talking about the fact that the Bucks had made news a couple of weeks back, and they were talking about, you know, having that hotel, the concept of having a hotel, a decontamination, if you will, hotel, and a mini bubble, and I'm going to go ahead and work it back to again that show I did over at the stadium there 3 months ago or 2 months ago, and I called it the Buccaneer bubble, and I said, because Donovan Smith was having questions about coming home to a beautiful, newborn child and his wife and other players that have pre-existing conditions. Of course, we know Ryan Jensen will just go to a chicken wing eating contest and he doesn't care about anything. I kid Ryan because I love him, but the thing is that we started to see, Roger Goodell was talking about that today, and we're going to see teams. There's going to be teams that get to a point. Teams are going to take this very seriously, and they're going to take it, and hopefully they're going to continue to remain safe. But Roger Goodell was talking about the testing and how successful they've been with the testing at the NFL. At the NFL teams and at different facilities, but also with the trace testing, which of course those of us, we're learning in society ourselves in 2020 COVID-19 that the trace testing is literally as important as the testing, because the trace testing is going to allow others who may have been contaminated to know. But the thing that scares me is that we're going to get to a point 8-9 games into the season where there's going to be 10 or 15 teams that are just mathematically eliminated, right? Teams that maybe start to not have as much to play for or what have you. They realize the playoffs are out of the question, and it's, and I'm not saying they purposely want to go and get that COVID-19, but it worries me because that'll be about the time we're heading into cold and flu season, and that'll be about the time that I'm just continuing to hold my breath that nothing can come in here and disrupt this perfect season so far we had, even though game 1 has not been played yet here for the Buccaneers in 2020.
No, it's an interesting thought. It's like, how there are college players who are in their senior year, or they're going to be turning pro, and they basically opt out of a bowl game if it's not part of the whatever they call the championship series, the playoffs now.
Fournette was one of the first ones to do that.
Okay, now what do? You're in a contract year. You've got a big contract coming up. I mean, right now you're the guy everybody's going to want. Your team's not going to make the playoffs. Do you all of a sudden say,
opt out?
I think I want to opt out. And I don't know if they can legally tell you can't.
Wow, because I don't think that was covered in the definitely not covered in the collective bargaining agreement. But I think that players must. I mean, I bet if you start calling lawyers into question or what have you, they must have the. That's an interesting topic that we'll have to talk about another time. Maybe I'll do a little bit of research, which whether or not I actually do sometimes, but that would actually be quite interesting because, like you said, because this is still, there's still questions as to the long-term effects that this COVID-19 can have, and But anyway, bro, I what else do I want to cover with you tonight? Basically, no, just a week from tonight, it's the Chiefs against the Texans, and I wanted to mention to you because I was watching. Excuse me.
You almost sounded like me there.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna show you anyway. Yeah, it's my evening libation. But so I was watching TJ Bittinger. Is it Bittinger with a B, right? And
yes.
Peter were talking last night, and it was a great show. A record-setting show. Peter
Pittenger with a P, maybe.
Pittenger. 7.2 thousand live views, and it hurts me a little bit, but I'll make it again. But we were talking, TJ, and I don't think he meant it. I don't think he meant it like this, but he was talking about the fact that there won't be, fans allowed at least for the month of September over at Raymond James. And he said, but instead they'll all, collectively gather at a Buffalo Wild Wing. And this is what I wanted to share with our Bucks Report faithful out there. That is the fact that, and you're going to see it because Saturday, Joshua, Peter, and I are going to go down there and we're going to do we're going to film some promos, and we're going to do a full setup again like we did last weekend and make sure we have all the bugs worked out. But the beautiful thing about the Deck Bar and Grill is Cedric the general manager and the group and Dean, one of the co-owners down there, have given us the entire outside deck, which basically, just imagine any dock that you go, and you've been, you're from the area, so Rick, it's a huge dock with lots of social distancing and lots of spacing, and we're going to have fans out there. They're going to put up the sails. So basically, I just wanted to mention, I know this sounds like I'm doing just a promo for the Deck Bar and Grill, but really it's for the Bucks Report, because Peter and I, we've been doing this for a couple of years now. We were covering the Apollos. We were covering the Vipers. We did the Bucks last season. But one of the funnest things we have is with the fan interaction. And so we're inviting people to come out, especially on game one there, that Sunday, September 13th, when we play the Saints, and see and I've got sanitizer. We're going to wipe the mic down. I'm going to have a mic available for any fans that want to come up, and we're going to maintain social distance, but they can come up and make comments or predictions for the season. But come out and see how we do, but more importantly, enjoy the fantastic food that they have down there at the deck. And
I'm jealous. I'm jealous being up here. I'm jealous.
You're coming down. We're already making that plan, but it's on the bay. It's on the Bayway between St. Petersburg and the beautiful Don Cesar. It's right there at the Isla del Sol golf course. But come down and join us, and you'll see that there's spacing is out, but we're all going to be celebrating that first victory, that first of 16 victories for the Bucks there. I'm going to keep pushing that. I'm going to try to make it. But I wanted to say thank you again, Rick, for joining me for tonight's Cup of Ray from the Cheap Seats. It's been a lot of fun, brother.
And that's been a lot of fun. I want to tell everybody one quick thing. September the 13th is the first show from the Cheap Seats. Please, please, please tune in. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's basically, look, I'll do the quick version of this. I've spent 30 years as a professional photographer, was on the sidelines at a Bucks game, and realized I don't even want to be here anymore on the field. It's hot, it's nasty, it's muggy. I want to be up in the cheap seats with the fans. And basically, I walked away from shooting for Pro Football Weekly just because I am one of you. That's where I am. That's what I'm all about. And I want to talk football with you guys on a weekly basis on Sunday nights. The first Sunday night, the 13th, we're going to be after the post game show. Whenever that ends, whenever Peter's post game show. That's when we're going to get started, kick it all off, and it's going to be a weekly thing. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and there's more news coming down the pipe.
Well, let me follow you up, and I'm going to let you finish, but let me follow you up with, because no, you're not.
Okay.
I'm part of that post game with Peter, and we are going to do a little post game show. But what I'm telling you right now is that the deck have already told us they're going to have 4 large screen TVs outside for the Bucks games, because Bucks Report and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we own the outside deck. And as soon as we're done with our post-game show, we're going to be broadcasting Cheap Seats. The first episode of Cheap Seats, we're going to actually have it on a TV down there for the fans that stick around. I already took off the next day. I'm going to be Ubering home, but make sure we're going to have people out there. So make sure, again, like you said, join in right after the post-game show, after the Bucks defeat the Saints in week 1, after the Bucks play the Saints, for the first episode of Cheap Seats. But where can everybody find you? Where can everybody find you there, Rick?
Right down. You see at the bottom here where it says Cheap Seats Live, cheapseats.live. Don't go to cheapseats.com. Go to cheapseats.live. My Twitter handle is there. The link to Twitter, the link to Facebook. I interact more on Facebook, but I'm fine. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm wanting to build up the Twitter base. So come on, guys, hit me up and be ready. Be ready. Save that phone number, 678. Talk to me. The question is, are you ready? On the 13th, you better be ready, because I'm going to be stinking ready waiting for you.
And I want you to work with me. I was checking out some of your YouTube pages and some of your posts, and great stuff. So I am going to be asking you, my sensei, if you'll be – I've been watching the Karate Kid, the Cobra Kai on Netflix. It's
funny because I do the same thing all the time.
Have you watched Cobra Kai? You remember the Karate Kid, right? Do you have Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, you got to watch this because it starts off with Ralph Macchio and then the other kid Daniel, and it's pretty good show. But you're going to be my sensei and show me how to do some of that social networking. Again, thanks for joining me tonight. I do end my shows usually, even though it's a hybrid Cup of Ray from the Cheap Seats. I just want to remind everyone out there, everyone needs to know that somebody cares. As we head into Friday morning, well, it's still 25 minutes away or 35, but as we head into Friday morning, why don't you be the one to let them know that somebody does? Thanks for joining us, Rick. It's been great. I hope you have a great evening.
You too. You have a great night. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, brother.